Brad's wife is hilarious. What is Brad's?
Sponsored by Dashlane.
What is Brad's wife?
February 27th.
Oh boy, here we go.
2017. A woman comes home to deliver her husband some bad news. She has been fired from her job at Cracker Barrel. They gave no notice. They gave no reason. The husband, Brad, embraces her. A tear rolls down her cheek. Brad's hands tighten into fists. 11 years of service, he whispers under his breath. Nanette, fetch me the computer. To say I'm pissed off would be an understatement. After 11 years of service, those lowlifes at Cracker Barrel let my wife go. I would really like to know why. And those of you who know me these days know that I will find out. In the meantime, if any of you would also like to know, please go to their Facebook page and ask them. This old boy is storming. And send.
Shroud's like one of my best friends.
That'll do it. With that, he put his arm around Nanette, and they fell asleep together on the couch.
Oh boy. I don't know.
A week passes.
I don't know where this is going.
It's Brad's birthday. Hey, Nanette, has there been any word back yet on why you're fired? This old boy is still storming. She shook her head. Outrageous. Nanette, fetch me the computer again. I'm going to make another Facebook post. Today is my birthday. Why did you fire my wife? Now we wait. Don't forget your cake. Brad squinted his eyes, made a wish, and blew. He put his arm around Nanette, and again, they fell asleep together on the couch.
No, I don't know where this is going.
But that
I
night,
love it.
as they dreamed, something special happened. A miracle of sorts. People started joining in. People saw the post, then semi-sarcastically also began demanding answers. Then more joined in. Then more.
You monsters fired Brad's wife.
Justice for Brad's wife.
Oh my
11
god.
years.
The power of the internet,
Release
dude.
Brad's wife.
Jesus Christ.
The template of the joke
The
was
people.
simple and spreadable. Promoting desserts, are we? Brad's wife used to love desserts. New item on the menu. Brad's wife would have made it twice as good. Today we remember 9/11. Brad's wife used to love 9. It spread from their Facebook to their Twitter to their Instagram to all of their social media platforms. But this wasn't your usual raid by 4chan. This was something different. An army of mostly boomers putting Cracker over the barrel. It was the mums and dads of middle America leading the charge. And Brad was there as the standard bearer. He embraced the meme. Why did you fire my wife? He repeated. Please share, he demanded. Soon there was nothing that Cracker Barrel could post that wouldn't immediately be turned into a discussion about the plight of poor Nanette. As always, a petition is started and goes nowhere. And once that failed, the calls started rolling in.
No.
Hi, I have a quick question for you guys.
Yeah.
Why did you guys fire Brad's wife?
So, I guess what I'm asking is if you would just go ahead and hire her back, and then we can just pretend like this whole thing didn't happen.
And what's a good harassment campaign without a soundtrack?
You just fired her on Brad's birthday.
Where's the justice for Brad's wife? If you wanna have your breakfast made.
But this was just the beginning. Other companies saw this meme and decided to add fuel to the fire.
Oh no.
On social media, they were posting about Brad's wife.
Oh.
In IRL, they were putting up signs
Oh my
promoting
God.
Brad's wife. And that prompted the news to get involved.
More teens are having
Coverage from People magazine, The Mirror, Washington Post, Fortune, and many, many, many more. That's when things really started to spread out into the streets. People made posters, signs, and t-shirts. And they even started visiting the restaurant just to ask about Brad's wife.
Oh my god.
Who's Brad?
Well, Brad's not important, but his wife, they fired her after 11 years of service.
I don't know what you're talking about.
After 11 years. On his birthday.
I heard about that. That was terrible.
Yeah, and now there's a wait time in here.
How long?
Oh, it's a long time. Cause Brad's wife isn't here.
Brad could see that things were spiraling out of control. He called on the troops not to harass the local chain. The firing was a corporate decision. Good morning. I still have not heard from said company, but I would like everyone to remember that some very good people work for them. So if you want answers, please direct questions to the Home Office. They're the ones who fired my wife.
Oh my god.
But it did little to temper things down.
You fired Brad's wife? You shall be on fire.
What the hell?
So in all this time, Brad still hadn't heard back from the company, and we feared that we'd never get answers. But one smooth talker succeeded in getting a few details by pretending to be a manager from the corporate office.
I got this email from my boss today stating something about Brad's wife. Do you know her personally?
Yes, sir. She was my boss.
And that's when she spilled the beans.
I think it was, she was kind of a softie, sir.
Now, from here, we could have just called it a day. But here's the thing about boomer humor. They don't know how to let a joke go. Once something is funny, it remains funny to them for years. And that doesn't spell good news for Cracker Barrel's social media.
Oh no.
So, that's what the future holds for Cracker Barrel. Years more of hashtag Brad's wife.
Oh no.
But what about for poor Nanette? Well, there's good news. It turns out that a lot of those offers by other businesses to hire Brad's wife weren't entirely sarcastic. 11 years of service? Come on in for an interview. Dozens and dozens of real offers started rolling in.
Oh my god.
Suddenly, Brad's wife had her pick, and she could work pretty much anywhere she wanted. And that, roughly speaking, is where the story ends. You can still visit Cracker Barrel today, and the top comment will still be some dumb shit about firing Brad's wife. But that doesn't matter, because better than an answer, Brad got his wife a new job, and this old boy could finally rest. The storm had passed.
Oh.
Ad time. You go to log into your internet banking. Invalid password.
I'm gonna go to Twitter real quick. Hold on. Curious. Cracker Barrel. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh man. I don't know if I should love that or if it's just straight sad. I don't know. I really don't. Okay. That was good. That was a good video. Slow motion sounds like a tampon made to be worn while you're exercising. I don't know if we're still discussing that. Oh, man. You're not wrong. Wanted to give a PSA that I just scored your HyperX Cloud Flight headset on $90 on Amazon and it's still on sale. I don't know what a PSA is, but hell yeah, baby. Shroud, you killed my best friend in Hunt Showdown the other night. He was so angry and told me about it and died laughing. Or about it and I died laughing. Love the stream. Happy hunting. Thank you, man. I was kidding, Shroud. Love what you're doing. Keep up the good work, bud. I mean, I didn't even understand your donation, Frectable, but thank you for the donation, the $55. I appreciate that. I just didn't get what you were saying. I didn't understand. I don't, yeah. Public service announcement. Oh, that's what PSA means. You know, I didn't know that. I kind of want to watch more videos. This guy is a fucking genius. This guy owns. I hope he doesn't fucking get mad at me for watching his videos on my stream. Let's watch one more. Can't hurt, right?
Hi there. You're probably wondering how I got this tan. Well, let me tell you the story. It begins with a man by the name of Billy McFarland. Billy was a good boy. At 22, he had dreams of becoming a super wealthy entrepreneur, dropping out of college to start a business called Magnesis. Over the years, he managed to network with some powerful people. One of them was Ja Rule. Translated from German, I believe it means, yes, rule. Over drinks, he pitched an idea. Here's an accurate recreation of that event.
Mr. Rule,
He says,
I have a brilliant idea.
Like, word, like, yo, what happened? I'm like, yo, this nigga too wild, fucking his bitch.
Precisely. Great minds think alike. It will be 2 weeks of absolute luxury in the Bahamas. Mr. Rule. Promotion began in late 2016. Fyre promised beaches, ladies, gourmet food, luxury villas. Hosted on a private island in the Bahamas called Fyre Cay, once owned by Pablo Escobar. VIP tickets up to $250,000. Swimming pigs. Blink 182. Major laser. A steel drum. Welcome to Fyre Festival. The best 2 damn weeks of your life. I bought my ticket immediately. The day arrives. About 5,000 people are making their way directly from Miami Airport, and there are huge delays to get to Fyre Cay. Although I shouldn't say Fyre Cay, because it doesn't exist. In the marketing, they referenced this island, which is actually Norman's Cay, run by George Young, not Pablo, by the way. But that doesn't matter because we're not going there either. We're going to Great Exuma. Private island? Forget that. Population? 7,000. In fact, we're basically in the parking lot of a sandals resort. In the end, only about 500 of us make it to the island. The remaining customers' flights are cancelled. You're about to see why. We're hauled onto a school bus and taken to the site, a gravel lot with a bunch of FEMA tents.
Oh no!
Remember those promises of luxurious villas? Pranked ya? Enjoy your stay, and don't forget your complimentary cup of UNICEF rice.
Turn this bus right around.
Once there, no one knows whose tent belongs to whom, so staff try getting everyone into a line. Then they abandon that idea and tell everyone it's a free-for-all. Expecting a party, this guy took all of his drugs on the flight over. He's the only one having any fun. Everyone else is grumpy because it's been 5 hours and there's no food. In lieu of food, staff decide to start handing out tons of free tequila. This only exacerbates problems. Once the food does arrive, it's just as delectable as promised though. Gourmet craft single there. A few hours later, bags arrive on a shipping container. It was getting dark and there was no lighting.
So everybody's walking around with their cell phones trying to look for their luggage.
Plenty of people had their luggage stolen. But don't worry, if you have any valuables, the festival advertised top-notch security. Here it is. But no one told guests they had to provide their own lock. There are rumors of muggings by the locals.
I heard rumors of feral dogs.
A tent supposedly caught fire. The closest beach has a rampant shark problem. Staff don't have any uniforms or walkie-talkies, so no one knows who's in charge, and the people who are in charge can't talk to each other. Here's the bathroom. Many staff quit after only a couple of hours. For the few customers who were willing to just make the most of it and enjoy the music, they had some bad news too. All of the major musical acts pulled out. In fact, Major Lazer wasn't even confirmed to go in the first place.
Watching videos.
The event was promoted as cashless, so all people had were these useless Disney bucks on their Fyre band, which meant they couldn't buy anything or catch a cab if they were stranded. And even with only 500 people, there are too few tents and beds, so everyone is just stealing each other's. And for any of you thinking you could just escape to the sandals, bad luck. It's peak season and they are absolutely full. People are reaching out to the embassy for help. After a few hours, most people chose to go back to the airport, and the rest were forced back home when the Bahamian government stepped in. The festival was closed. But the exodus from the island made its own problems. Guests spent hours dehydrated and hung over in a hot building. Why staff locked the door isn't entirely known. But one girl fainted before they were finally reopened. Everyone gets home, and that was the end of it. Except for me. I was rescuing someone, helping them out, and I got lost in the woods. Anyway, back at home, the shitstorm on social media was just ramping up. The Reddit Fyre Festival was created, and it started documenting everything that went wrong at the event. People were circulating a fake tweet by Jar that the whole thing was a social experiment. Some wholesome festival memes there. And it quickly turned into a marketing case study of what not to do. In response, Fyre started serving cease and desist letters to stop people from saying mean things about them. Mr. Rule released an official statement online, both apologizing and saying that it's not his fault. Interestingly, he wasn't even on the island at the time. He was giving a concert in Chicago. Although, to their credit, they offer everyone a full refund. Or, you could always let it ride and opt in for tickets to 2018's Fyre Festival.
And a VIP ticket to next year's Fyre Festival. If they decide to go. Exactly. Next year.
Meanwhile, Billy is on full damage control. He claims that a storm came in the night before and changed all of the marketing into lies.
We got to a point that we were very excited about on Wednesday night with how the two sites looked, and we got hit by a big storm.
But the apologies weren't enough. A few days later, and the first lawsuit was served.
Attorney Ben Misalis doesn't think it's funny. He's filed a $100 million class action lawsuit against the organizers.
Then another suit. Then 7 more. Then the feds got involved, claiming Billy had committed wire fraud. Serious charges with serious prison time. More on that later.
But first,
right now, let's go into the history of Fyre Festival. The marketing was clever. To get the word out, they got in touch with about 400 influencers, Instagram celebrities, and they offered them VIP tickets or cash to promote the event. They even managed to get Kendall Jenner to post about it. Rumor has it she was paid $250,000 for this post. Their marketing worked though. The festival sold out. So how did it go so wrong? Let's start with the money. During the planning process, a consultant came in and said the festival would cost $50 million and require another year of organization.
They should have planned this 2 whole years out.
This is after they made all the promises, and they had nothing near that amount, so they started cutting expenses way back. Remember those luxury villas? They were going to cost $10 million alone, so they scrapped them. Now everyone gets a tent. Deposits for the bands? Nope. Food, infrastructure, staff, all were cut back. But, you may ask, how did they have so little cash if they sold out? It's the price. It was way too low. Now wait a minute, up to $250,000 a ticket is too low. In fact, on social media, people were so merciless and unsympathetic towards the guests because they thought it was a bunch of rich kids paying for tickets with a starting price of $12,000. And you can thank fake news for that assumption. You see that number repeated everywhere. But actually, very few were paying even close to that amount. The standard price was around $1,200. Which, if you think about 2 weeks in the Bahamas with practically all of your expenses taken care of, that's pretty bloody good. In fact, some tickets were as low as $500.
6 months ago, got together and got the early bird special for about $500. And this covered food, transportation, ticket, and somewhere to sleep.
How on earth were they going to break even with that? They weren't. And on the flip side, there's no proof whatsoever that anyone purchased a $250,000 ticket. So basically, they're stuffed. Billy has to start taking tough short-term loans just to keep afloat. Which, by the way, is why they did the Fyre bans. It was to raise cash. It's reported that up to $2 million in Firebucks in-game currency was spent in the lead up to the event. But this wasn't even close to enough. Practically broke, and with the event only a few weeks away, the more experienced staff suggested postponing. But thanks to those short-term loans, he couldn't. So he insisted on going forward. Those staff tried to control the damage by telling celebrities and public figures not to go.
How was the Fyre Festival?
So, Billy and Jar are in some serious trouble. But let's please have one failed festival that has a sequel. Well, Billy is out on $300,000 bail. His assets were frozen as at May 18th. He dropped his expensive attorneys. He's selling his property in New York. He tried to sell Magnesis for $150,000, but it was cancelled for being fraudulent. Massively in debt and with no hope of paying it back, Fyre went into involuntary bankruptcy. And that is the end of Fyre Festival. I'll keep you posted about whether Billy is going to jail. So long, Fyre Festival. You were too beautiful for this world. And as for me, well, it's time to go home.
Okay. Wow. You'd think if you have that much money, would have been smarter than that, but, you know, hey. What the fuck? That makes me want to see the Netflix version. I want to know the Netflix part. I want to know what that's about. Jesus. Shroud Festival? Are you guys down? Where do you guys want to do it? My backyard? I fucking wish. Since when does money mean you're smart? I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that, but like, it's more so like you have the money to have smart people around. That's their job, you know? Whatever you need, you pay somebody and like, hey, you're the expert. What the fuck should I do here? And you take that person's advice rather than just like, you know? Oh, he didn't actually have money. He was just like a con artist. Oh, I see. So he didn't have money. Oh no. Oh no. Well, shit, that man's smart as hell then. Are you kidding me? He pulled that off with no money? What the fuck? Hell yeah. Well, I guess he didn't pull it off, but still, he got pretty far. I mean, shit, he's probably proud, right? No, I don't think so. I don't think he's happy about his decisions. Oh, I want to see this. I need to see this. I need to know what this is. I didn't see this before. I need to know what this is. I need to know. Leeroy Jenkins, the man behind the meme. Yes. All right, time's up. Let's do this. Leeroy. Sorry.
Tonight, the story of Leeroy Jenkins, the man who got famous for prematurely ejaculating himself onto the face of battle. He is Ben Schultz, a regular guy from Lafayette, Colorado, only an hour's drive from Balloon Boy's house as it happens.
What?
At the time, he was 24 years old and earning his degree in electrical engineering. So, Ben and a few of his mates got drunk one night on 40s and decided to make a guild. They settled on the most sarcastic name they could think of, Pals for Life. But they needed more people to join so they could raid. So they made this video. Yes, it's staged. The guild admitted it. So it goes on, they get 720 no-scoped by the Welts. Here I made a map so you can see what it looks like without all the chaos. Find a full version on my second channel. As soon as they uploaded it, the views went bananas. Leeroy became a star, baby. But fame was a cruel mistress to Leeroy. taking as much as she gave. People started to follow him around in the game.
Oh my god.
They would camp outside UBRS, hoping he would show up. He would get hundreds of whispers every day. Some like this, some like this, but mostly like this. He even had a stalker who would follow him day in and day out trying to find personal information. In those days, WoW didn't allow cross-server play either, so that meant huge queues and wait times. And when you got in, there were even bigger problems. Loot lag, rollback, disconnection, which meant re-queuing. And Leeroy's video was attracting tens of thousands of new players to his server. It was beginning to impede the way he played the game. Worse, it wasn't the kind of fame that allowed him to get rich either. It was meme fame. He and his guild tried to make money by selling merch, but they had trouble with Blizzard's copyright, so the best they could do was sell shirts with Ben's face on it. They didn't sell very well. They invited him to host at BlizzCon.
Alright, I was cannon rushing, just being a jackass, just drinking.
It went okay. Ben was offered a job at EA, but he turned it down because the pay wasn't great, and it was only a 6-month contract that would require him to move across the country. Meanwhile, Blizzard sees the popularity of Leeroy and pumps out figurines and lore. Ever notice how Leeroy gets whiter over time? Interesting. They even make him into a quest, but it's voiced by some random guy. Ben decides to send an email to Blizzard and say, what about me? So they let him VO for it.
Oh.
And then, that's it. He was invited to a few other events. But that's about all the recognition offered him. Meanwhile, Pals for Life had become the most attractive guild on the server. And it was turning into a veritable bukkake of success, with glistening splashes of legendary items and trophies glazing its founders. We'll be right back.
Police are on the lookout for Leeroy Jenkins Jr. of Jacksonville. They now have a first-degree murder warrant out for the 43-year-old.
But back to Ben Schultz.
What? Was that real?
During an interview, he says he's working on a new viral video that will be out by the end of the year. But instead of another viral hit, he dies. Okay, no, he didn't die. But he did quit the game. He was bored with it. All of his friends were. Jamal and Anthony quit in 2007, and Abdul in 2008. It seems that Pals for Life really meant pals for about 2 years. Leeroy comes back in 2011, but he doesn't stay around for long. He doesn't even play his own quest.
My hands.
In 2011, he makes an appearance in a fake trailer called The Chronicles of Rick Roll. A full version of the movie, of course, is never to be made.
All right, chums. Let's do this.
But in that same year, he gets a proper brush with Hollywood. The Warcraft movie is announced. One of the first versions of the script, here, features Private Jenkins, a rogue soldier who breaks rank and charges into battle before he should. But before production, they cut him from the script.
Aww.
No Leeroy. They do invite him to the premiere, though. Here he is with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie, I hear you've been yelling Leeroy Jenkins all day.
Yeah, we're
Yeah, I'd love to hear your best one. All right,
ready?
3, 2, 1. I got a surprise for you, though.
Yeah, I know.
All right. right, chums, let's do this.
Yeah, I know.
All around me are familiar faces.
Pleasure to meet you, by the way.
The movie did alright in China, so they'll probably make a sequel. And if they do, it'd be nice to see Ben make a cameo. Ben has gone back to his regular life as an electrician. And that's the story so far. The man, the meme, the icon of internet history. Ben Schultz. Good night.
Huh.
Alright, I'm going to store now. Back in 3 minutes.
Alright, no problem. I'll just be here doing my research. Ooh. Oh yeah. Ooh. Oh yeah. Ooh.
Oh man. Well,